Happy bull season. Let's do a spread for Taurus season. We'll do 3 different readings. This is the deck that I'll use for reading 1. I'll use this deck for reading 2. And this will be our deck for reading 3. Information about each of the decks we are using will be in the description box below, along with timestamps. If you chose reading 1 and this particular King of Pentacles, this will be for manifesting in Taurus season. Eight of Wands, first card out. The Eight of Cups is speaking up as well. Temperance, reversed. The Three of Cups. King of Pentacles. The Empress. And the Five of Cups. This is actually moving forward. So it looks like you're manifesting very quickly this season. And it will mean mourning a loss, moving forward, likely to make space for what you're creating, perhaps. With the Artist card and the Empress card as well. You see the Hermit. Looks like you've been creating in isolation. The King of Cups is here as well. You may have also been interested in group 2. In terms of manifesting love this season, we really see a group of people involved. Friendships manifesting. And a three-party situations in love for others. Now, why would we be manifesting that, right? Your main challenge, maybe task, in terms of manifesting this month, it does have to do with some sort of imbalance, with Temperance showing up reversed. And we do want to get some more cards as well from this first deck. we'll go ahead and put 10 out total from this for this manifesting in Taurus season spread. Is there anything that you're being stubborn about? In terms of manifesting, particularly loyal to, in terms of manifesting the truth. What should you be really valuing in terms of manifesting? We have Chariot, the Chariot card showing up there. Could be highlighting Cancerian energy in your chart for some. And then just general advice. See the Queen of Wands. So 8 of Wands, Queen of Wands in the center, and the advice. Quick, fast, merciless manifestation. High Priestess on the bottom of the deck. So I dare say you know what you're doing. This is a situation that you've created. Of course, we're always manifesting, and this time, I think for a lot of you, what you're focusing on manifesting in Taurus season, seeing come through in Taurus season finally, is something that you've been consciously manifesting as well. Again, we know it's happening quickly. So it's like something is spilled here. Something's done without a lot of precision because it's done fast. It has to be because these manifestations are coming in quickly. So there is a loss. And it's not that mourning is suggested to be inappropriate, but it is suggested that it behooves you to value owning this situation as a victory. Own it as the creator, the manifestor, the victor here. Ride this wave forward. Victory is just the beginning. There's much to do and more, and this is what you asked for. For some, perhaps you didn't realize what all it would entail leaving behind. If you're leaving a relationship or person behind, some of you are advised to take the pet, the cat, pet, maybe specifically cat, a familiar, the companion, the furry companion, fur baby, the beastie bestie. Take it with you. Take that companion with you. If you're leaving a home, you're leaving some kind of relationship or something like that. Because we do see you with an animal companion again. And the Justice card as well, where, this is what you're being particularly loyal to. It seems that what's coming in quickly is money, wealth, a sense of security, groundedness, stability. Really a source of wealth. So the level of stability that is generating and regenerating resources, some in a passive way, and managing and maintaining that flow. So it may be a partner that some of you have manifested who will be this source of physical abundance. It could be a new romantic interest. It could be a benefactor for... So you're wanting the waters to be calmer, move forward as the victor of the situation, who certainly has created and manifested it, and ride the wave quickly as these manifestations start flooding in. But this is what you're being stubborn about with the Six of Swords here. You're wanting to move to calmer mental and emotional states, and you feel like you need things to move at a slow pace. That resistance to a wave, an inflow of activity that you asked for, could be what causes someone to spill rather than ride forward, fall rather than ride forward. Falter rather than flow. That may or may not be why we see the loss here. I think likely what we're looking at, though, is that you have the High Priestess on the bottom of the deck, as we saw, and then the Hierophant is just below that. And we talked about the King of Cups. So, I think we're looking at, you know, that these losses are coming inevitably to make space and room in your life for what you've manifested, what you've asked for. And that might be the reason for your resistance and wanting to go slow. You think in some way you can juggle all 5 of these cups, all of these emotional connections, likely, while juggling all 8 of these wands, all of these exciting opportunities, events, manifestations that are coming in so quickly. And so that could be why we see the temperance on its head, right? You should just focus on those 2 cups, not all 5, that you know have to be part of your moving forward. But you're trying to move slowly rather than ride the wave, thinking that somehow you can save it all, and then you falter with what you should have been focused on. Now, I think the Three of Cups could be showing us really both things that I mentioned, friendships as well as a three-party situation for some, because with the Queen of Wands, as a piece of advice, you may be advised to network this season in order to push some of your manifestations to the point of completion, to tip them over the edge, as a last bit of fiery effort from you as your action half. But as much as you need to reach out and offer communication, create networks and links, you're also in need of support. And that's why the animal companions have come through as something to look into, certainly keep with you. Take solace in. And if you make, especially if you make some of these work and money related connections emotionally satisfying as well, which I know that's what I like to go for personally in a heart-centered business, but whether or not that's how you define your work, then we can see some human support showing up for you too. While the rush of manifestations coming in like a wave, and this need to ride forward rather than look back, rather than offer any resistance and insistence on going slow, could also somehow result in a three-party situation for some in love. It seems like for someone trying to juggle all of those emotional connections instead of focusing on what has to move forward with them, what they're certain, instead of focusing on what they feel already certain is moving forward with them. Focusing instead on the ones that they're afraid they might lose, right? If for someone it's like taking your eye off that particular ball or emotional connection, it could be a romantic partner, a close partnership that someone almost takes for granted is definitely going to be part of their future, and then by not giving it enough attention, a three-party situation could arise. They have another option of a roommate or a best friend or a lover or a partner of any kind, really, right? But I do see that the emotion, the connection is emotional, and the loss is taken hard. And it seems that the message that's coming through is that some losses are inevitable because there's so much abundance and so many manifestations coming in just a matter of a few weeks. And they're things that you truly, truly want, have created from an authentic place, and that's why they're here now. So creating space in your life for those things is inevitable, and it's definitely not time to take for granted the ones that the connections that you're certain you cannot leave behind, are not willing to leave it behind. It's unacceptable to lose and leave behind. It's time to focus on those instead with the energy that you have left over outside of work and money and creation, manifestations, and otherwise. And I guess we mean both 3D and otherwise, because it's as if the reading's saying you don't really, at least most, aren't really getting to choose whether or not there are losses. Space will need to be created one way or another, but you can choose which losses you're mourning by focusing on the connections, the relationships that you're not willing to mourn. It also seems to be coming through that this resistance and insistence on taking things slow could possibly block this fast flow of creations coming in altogether. And that blockage could still result in the same unforeseeable losses, in the same three-party situation emotionally. It seems strange to be saying during Taurus season to not insist on taking things at a slow, steady pace. And if your intuition tells you that it is a good thing to be stubborn about, that it is part of your truth, just remember that your intuition is subtle and certain, not panicked, not ego-driven, of course. So I think we will leave our first manifesting and Taurus season reading right there. Reading 2. You are now starting with the King of Wands, though I do believe you chose the King of Water from this deck. And the Emperor is actually the first card out. Four of Cups reversed. So it looks like you are manifesting a divine masculine energy in Taurus season. And your main task at this time, your main focus this season, is making sure not to miss the opportunity or opportunities that present themselves. So the first thing that comes to mind is that you at least believe that you're already close to this energy on a weekly, maybe even daily basis. You've been trying to manifest them, and so you think that maybe you're close to it. Now, for a lot of you, we are talking about a potential lover. But for others, we're talking about a version of you, a boss version of you, owning your own business, running your own company, or just accepting a new position, promotion, something of this nature. Five of Pentacles. So we do already see that you have been somewhat stubborn, or have the potential to be somewhat stubborn this season, regarding a lack mentality that could potentially block this manifestation. But this is all stemming from your desire for heat, I think. And just because that does refer to someone wanting to be able to choose a new partner of some type. For someone else, it is just a new path represented by the Lover's card. Still, you're looking for that heat, that passion, that fire, and in your higher mind, I think we're seeing here that what you know about this manifestation, this particular manifestation process, is that you do have the passion, the burst of inspiration necessary to make this a reality. So you've had either the clairsentient or the claircognizant knowing, vision, or feeling that makes you certain that this reality, this path, maybe person, this vibration, this experience, and the feeling you associate with it belongs to you. But the King of Pentacles was what you first... No, the King of Water is what you first chose when you chose reading 2. And then that moved into the King of Fire, and then the Emperor. And now we see that what you may be loyal to is the King of Swords, the King of Air. So thinking logically, and or for someone, a mature masculine energy that you're already partnered with in some way. That, of course, could block the manifestation. King of Pentacles, again. This is what you're really valuing at this time, though. A more feminine energy. And the Ace of Pentacles is here as well. So on the path you are on now, this is all leading to an offer that does have strings attached, and is secure. The Hierophant on the bottom of the deck now. For one, confirming that this is about manifesting in Taurus season. I do see that offer, that secure offer, coming in by the end of this season, which we are already about a week in now. So your next step. Without the lack mentality, without the sense that you don't have what you want, or that there's even a time you have to wait for what you want. You go to work on calling in what actually already belongs to you. In the ways that best raise your vibration and affirm your belief in the manifestation process, your manifestation process, and the fact that what you're calling in is yours to call in. Just like a loving companion, right, that roamed around all day, a pet that you're close with that leaves as it likes but comes in at night to sleep in the home with you. It's not your companion. It's not your familiar or pet, etc. Just because it needs to be called in sometimes when the time is right. So what best confirms your belief? We see the moon phases here. We see someone at their work desk with a particular candle that is a particular color. We see particular books, herbs. Is this plants? Is this individual looking at looking to success stories, perhaps, of manifestations similar to theirs that have gone well? Making sure that their candle's the right color, that the moon is the right phase, Again, this is about you, your beliefs, what affirms and confirms your process. Your truth. But being that the Emperor is what is being lured in, or at least representing the manifestation that you're calling in, we really do see the next step being very feminine, very Empress-like in nature. The opposite, the magnet for that masculine energy. Even if it's a masculine state that you're wanting to enter into. It still seems to be saying not to miss your opportunity to allow what is yours to come to you. Now, if you know you haven't taken the appropriate action, that you've only had the burst of inspiration, but you keep feeling like you don't have time to take the appropriate action, then maybe what you need to call in is the time or energy that you're looking for to take the action you're wanting to take. The opportunity to see this person. You're really valuing a grounded presence, being in your body, with your people, more so than in your head, in your mind, although you still may be loyal to certain thoughts that you can't seem to give up on. And I think we may be talking about that same lack mentality. Not enough time, not enough energy. Which is funny, right? Because the next step is just to show gratitude for what you know is already yours, to sit and be still with any practice, reading, tools, knowledge that makes it easier. The state or person that they've been heading toward, that should be here by now probably, is within their grasp, their reach, but they just don't quite know enough. They just don't have quite enough or quite the right guidance about what they're trying to do. If that's the case, if that's the lack, then by all means, you have to make the time, put in the effort, find that right teaching, teacher, guidance. Won't have to make as much time for the research as you might think. If you have that clairsentient, claircognizant knowing about this thing belonging on your path, being a reality that you are meant to connect with, and there have already been synchronicities surrounding your path up to this point, your evolution or your relationship with whatever we're looking at here, then accordingly, synchronistically, just sit down with the names, with the videos, with the books that you think might help, and lo and behold, that will be another synchronicity on this path. And if you feel what you need won't be far into that process. I mean, and if you feel that you must take some other action, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You need to do something to make this happen. It's coming through for you to, in this space, during this attracting work, to connect with your ancestors, right? Speak to your ancestors about your process, about theirs. How can they specifically offer you guidance? How can just having a trusted, somewhat silent backboard offer you even just an outlet to be pure and honest? Again, it won't take long for you to connect with something that's really helpful if these are your messages, if you're really on a path that belongs to you, towards something that belongs to you. You feel like you've been repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating this process for some time. And that's, I think, for someone, that's what's ingrained, this feeling that you must just not be doing enough. When in fact, truth be told, some part of you is just enjoying this dance. We're creatures of habit, and you've learned how to do this well. You have been magician, upright in the past position, successfully manifesting this emperor showing up in the center of the reading upright for some time. You just don't have enough space in your life for the logical, cerebral, stuck in the head, masculine energy that you're being so loyal to, versus the down to earth, grounded, present, showing up, present in the physical 3D, out of their head into their body, masculine energy that you're valuing more now at this time. You are moving into choosing this energy. You have manifested the vibration. It's there, it's present. You're either seeing this person constantly in some way, or blinking in and out of these two states of being, if it's a new state that you'll be moving into. You wanted the choice. You wanted this choice, and it's here for a couple of years. But not only have you learned to enjoy the dance, because you're just getting better and better and better at this process that you just keep repeating, but then in all that time, some part of you has become convinced, well, I must not be offering enough to it, when in fact you're just doing it better and better. And some anticipation has built about the choice, about the newness, the unknown of the new beginning. Of course, right? The longer you keep doing what you've been doing, the better you get at it, the more attached to it and used to it and loyal to it even you are. It's also, again, this cerebral energy that's encouraging you to inspect and re-inspect what your desire is, what you're calling in, why you're calling it in, what the process is, how you're doing the process. It's become overthinking that's near stagnant, and in fact encourages and highlights and even just increases the value you place on getting out of that mental overwhelm and into the body, into the present moment, into connections and relationships that make you feel that way, that help you be that way. Which for someone could absolutely be what's making a certain choice so difficult, right? That could be the just that could be the difference between. And just that is everything when we're talking about your well-being, your happiness, your quality of life. The next step is to be patient, to not miss the opportunity to sink into the knowing, the knowledge, the feeling, the certainty. You're being given the opportunity to confirm and affirm your belief by assuming that you're in the right place and everything is happening right on time and it is coming to you without you needing to take any more action. Again, unless it's that you feel you haven't had the time to take a certain action or learn a little bit more, and in which case you can simply call in that time that you're needing, that energy, that time that you're needing. If that's really the case and not just covering something else up, but even so, just going through the motion and going through the step may be still the long way around to getting where you're going, if you follow, if that makes sense. I see someone's been wanting this since at least winter time, but again, it could be years even. Something about the winter that's making this presence and this warmth so valued, though. And like I said, the offer that's coming eventually, there are strings attached, but it's because there's security and growth attached, and you're liking that, you're wanting that. That's exactly what you're asking for. And this doesn't mean to tell you not to be working in the near future as part of this next step, but be working on other things. If you've already taken all the necessary action in this arena, then the work is simply to assume your attention is free for other things, and any focus toward this would just be about gratitude. And for someone, it very well may shift your vibrational state into being ready to make an offer. That feels very right, because with it being the Ace of Pentacles versus the King of Pentacles, it's not as if you're making an offer that is in any way comparable to the one that you're looking to receive. But it is the beginning of that, and you may be making sure someone else has an opportunity to make you the offer that you're really wanting, by just first allowing them the time and space with you in some way. You let someone know that you're open to a conversation, a friendship, a working relationship, something of that nature. So that after some time passes, maybe they actually ask you on a date. Or much more than that, maybe for some, if it's someone that you've already been seeing and someone you've been with for some time, it's ask you to set a date. Really, those things are just a matter of where they are on the timeline, right? Just because you manifest this offer by the end of the season doesn't mean you have to accept it. The strings that are attached may be highlighted because that might be something that you can't look at the details of until they're in front of you. Could absolutely be about knowing that you have the ability to manifest this thing, that you have this option, that you have this choice, that you feel powerful in those ways, that you feel reconnected with your potential in some way, but also choose to exercise your right to use your discernment and change your mind, of course. None of that means that you weren't meant to connect with this path, this person, again, this process, this ability of yours, this surge of power and potential that it can make you feel. You can just realize that it was about evolving you, not actually changing paths, but connecting with more choices that you have, which can really deepen your commitment to, deepen your passion for the path that you're already on. You may need that solidified by having access to other choices and finding that while you value them, they're not your ultimate choice. I do really feel like someone here is going to ultimately be choosing them over all else, because you had that King of Water. We see the King of Pentacles, the King of Swords. There's so many Three Kings messages have been trying to come through. You're wanting to merge all of those aspects into this Emperor energy in your work, in your life, in your relationship. So if it is a choice between partners of some kind, any kind, is there one or the other partnership that you can integrate the other qualities and aspects into? And if not, are you more so looking forward, assuming and knowing that you will attract the energy that belongs to you? You've just been on the stage of learning that you were wrong about it being one of the choices already in front of you in the 3D. I think we will get one card from the Queen of the Moon Oracle deck. I did say that you're valuing a more feminine and also sensitive now is coming through. Energy in a masculine role. And the masculine energy that's coming through that you have been and are currently calling in, manifesting this season is very sensitive. He's sensing the confidence, the assumption, the certainty. There's a little bit of cockiness in how assured you are about what you're calling in. Just a little, just a smidge, I see. He's sensing all of the subtleties of that energy, and conversely would sense any withdrawal, sadness, uncertainty, everything that's on the flip side of the coin. Right? Any doubt, any fear, any insecurity. And I'm saying he. Because of our Emperor card here, really. But that masculine energy. That boss energy. And it's to sense your doubt and your insecurity, to sense you being unsure about what you're calling in. It's not as though, you know, if this is, let's look at it like it is a person outside of you. It's not as though someone is judging your process, but rather not wanting to be where they're not meant to be any more than you're wanting something or someone or some state to ultimately show up and manifest that's not really meant to be there for. Action. I see celebratory action. Getting dressed up, feeling good, maybe just to take pictures at home if one is not going anywhere, or maybe to go out, to go dancing. Full moon-like festivities, but that does not mean that we have to wait for that. The makeup, the clothes, the lights, the music, the dancing, even if you're alone, either way, whatever makes you feel good. I see celebratory action here. So maybe taking the certainty and the gratitude that we've talked about from desk to dance floor. I think for someone it's like it's see, I'm noticing that her hair is still up. I'm noticing that we're looking at another character whose hair is still up, even as they're celebrating and more in dance clothes and more in a state where they may be seen rather than this one that's looking more unseen. But they still look like they could be at home and celebrating alone and at home to me, right? But for someone, I'm getting the sense that for someone it seems silly or unrealistic or just unnecessary to stand up out of this chair, get into some sort of outfit or just state of being, whether that includes makeup and heels or whatever it means, and actually, you know, dancing around, actually celebrating the same way they would with friends at a club or at a party, but just by themselves. Which there are so many reasons that isn't silly and isn't ridiculous, and in this case is called for and effective. for more than just exercising the body. And and it's so not silly, because what this querent is valuing and wanting is being present in the 3D, being present in their body in the present moment with someone on a path, with a person, with people who make them feel that way, who make them that way. It's almost like someone is valuing someone else who's very present and very physical, but they may not be seeing that that's because they are wanting to be more that way themselves. And so you should just be more that way yourself, right here, right now. So you're being asked to have faith in your process. And if you have faith in your process, and it is when you do, when you clearly see the steps that you need to take to get to your personal light at the end of your tunnel, where you're headed, and are excited and giddy about just identifying the steps in the path, and are enjoying the process, because it's truly fun to be getting it right and to know that you've finally seen the whole path and where it's going, and you think you can just dedicate yourself in the time, and then it's only a matter of time, right? That's when this thing comes running and sprinting and riding and zooming and maybe speeding towards you, maybe recklessly so, maybe taking flight towards you. Now, all of those fast modes of transportation still take a certain amount of time, right? But still, it's when you're enjoying that process. So that's why we talked about learning more about it. For some of you, it's just enjoyable to learn more about the manifestation process. If you're doubting what you've done and what you're doing by reading more about it because you don't think you've gotten it right, then that's something a little different. That's creating a different vibrational state. But I do think that you're learning about the process as you're going through it, and some of it's just unexpected. And so is this step of just attracting and just waiting and showing gratitude for and assuming that it's coming and focusing on other things. And again, that doesn't mean you don't take action. I just think you're taking action on things alone, other things that are for you, because you've already taken action toward what you want. And ironically, these other actions that you take, certainly at least by the full moon coming up next month, ironically get you seen and noticed by this person or someone who needs to, in order to help you along the path that you're wanting to be on, that you've manifested. And I say ironically, synchronistically, appropriately, perfectly, right on time. That's exactly why we see this offer coming in by the end of the season. Or again, you being put in a new vibrational state, and maybe of confidence, that makes you ready to instigate something, make some sort of offer. We're talking about inspired action here. Inspired action. So any action that you're taking that is trying to get something that you don't have, or trying to make yourself more in some way because you're not enough already will probably be less than effective. Thinking about inspired action, and I think that's again why we're referring to it right now as celebratory action. Just realizing that it's been called in, it's already there. You've been correct if that's what you've been thinking. You've just been holding on so tightly to what you already have that ultimately what you've really manifested for yourself is that choice that we talked about. Because when you've successfully manifested what else you want, but you still have what you won't let go of, then you have not enough space and a choice. The first few steps of your process are slippery. That doesn't mean that the process has to stay the way that it is now. That doesn't mean for someone you couldn't figure out how to take a shortcut, even in some sense. But as far as the path that you're on now, the reading that we've been looking at, the process that has been successful for you so far, the first few steps are just slippery. It's easy to slip back into old habits. It's easy to slip back into old beliefs. It's easy to not be able to see where you're heading yet. And so to doubt that you're even heading where you're supposed to be until you get far enough along the path that the end is clear and in sight. Again, as far as the way that you are going about this now, which hasn't been unsuccessful for you, that does bring to mind that you can just envision, picture, connect with the more final, more ultimate, more distant reality that it is you're ultimately going for. But I have gotten the feeling during this reading that we're in large part talking about someone who is figuring that out. Maybe you don't realize that the reason that you have been manifesting choices and maybe even a little bit of confusion rather and repetition rather than the results is because you are still figuring out what that end goal really is. You want, some part of you at least wants a chance to keep molding that for now. You also may be getting some advice that contradicts something you've heard here, that is from a competitor of some kind or someone who stands to gain some type of ego boost in telling you what to do. Maybe they had a similar situation and it makes them feel good to let their expertise out to someone. And in that case, they may not even have a bad intention, or they may really stand to gain something by intentionally giving you what they know to be poor advice for your situation. Either way, just consider, is it someone who needs the ego boost or is competing with you? I love you. And we are on to reading 3. Reading 3. You must have chosen the King of Pentacles as well at the beginning. And looking at all 3 piles. However, he has become the King of Fire, the King of Wands here. The Alice in Wonderland tarot, or Tarot in Wonderland. If I haven't said it already, I'll have all the information about all the decks that we've used and all the readings in this session in the description box below. I do think this is the deck that you chose the King of Pentacles from. I'm almost certain. 2 of Wands. Temperance. Queen of Wands. The Death card. Which showed up when I was meditating with another deck, shuffling another deck before your reading. Knight of Cups. The Strength card. The Five of Pentacles as what you're being stubborn about. Reading 2 had another version of the Five of Pentacles in the same position as what they're being stubborn about this season as they try to manifest. And reading 2's king also became a King of Wands by the time that it was time to do a reading. Might be worth looking at. Ace of Swords. You're being very loyal to the truth. You could possibly be someone who has a little trouble manifesting, feeling like it requires you to be delusional in some way, and that's difficult for you. Full card on the bottom of the deck. Taking a leap into the unknown. Bravely adventuring forward alone. Being seen doing so, maybe admired. Doing so in a carefree manner this season. Okay. You're manifesting the opportunity to create the destiny that you desire, that you already see on the horizon. You're manifesting the answer to a choice. Which path, which direction you want to start making your plan to move forward, taking the first step in moving forward, but you need the answer to which direction. And frustratingly enough, the answer to the question is that a choice is what is destined, first and foremost. So you using your free will to make that very choice is what will be realized, or once you've chosen a direction, someone else still has a choice to make about joining you, helping you, walking that path with you, maybe for someone. Because someone is weighing directions over the course of the season, weighing their options of directions, And truly, they're considering who they are and who they want to be. I mean, they know or are finding that who they want to be is who they truly are. So they're just looking for the answer to that question. Very likely you. Like I said to begin with, for some it's you, for some there's someone else who then has a choice as well. Someone here is being very protective of their heart. There's been a total transformation that has led to this choice of direction. On a physiological level too. Noticeable. And with the Five of Pentacles is something that you're being stubborn about this season as you try to manifest. You're feeling like you don't have enough time or energy, I think, just like pile number 2. It's as if the Five of Pentacles in this case is saying that no matter what you feel, you believe, you would be leaving something behind that you really desperately do not want to go forward without, in a panicked type of way, a panicked point. It looks like that's because of whatever you just ended. You ended something that created the total transformation. That this choice of direction, this destined choice, stems from. Or the destined choice is stemming from your desire for an end and a new beginning. A total transformation that you know requires clearing and making way and space. So it's like you're actually wanting there to really be someone who drags you in the direction you're meant to go. Someone who makes this choice for you, tells you what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to be, so that you're not being cold or unfaithful to whatever has to be left behind, whatever life, company, version of yourself, choice you can't make just because your days in your life doesn't allow space for all of it. Recently, regarding this situation, someone's been in a state of not really knowing what it is that they have to offer. That doesn't mean they don't have anything to offer. This may have been you. This may be exactly what you'd like to put an end to, whether it's you or someone who sort of has an offer for you, but likely in this case, they haven't been quite fully making it because they've been pondering what it is that they really have to offer. One or both parties, if there are two here, maybe questioning their self-worth, could be seemingly as a result of the situation, and likely is really a matter of the two of you resonating with each other stemming from having that in common. Some question of self-worth. At least for you, it's likely that it has to do with exactly what we've been talking about. Leading yourself to a choice that some part of you is resisting making, when exactly what it is that is destined is the choice to be presented to you and made of your own free will. Expecting the worst can certainly attract it to you. Being in a constant state of defensiveness and recalling and remembering scenarios that led to that level of defensiveness can manifest more situations like that. You are valuing someone who is stuck in that state. Either this someone who will have to question who they are, learn more about who they are as they're weighing a path they might walk with you or a different one, or an old version of yourself again. So that actually gives you an inkling as to which one the reading is encouraging you to leave behind. Which choice to make. And I'm not sure if I put it quite like this before, but when I said that some of you are looking for a sort of middle way between these two options, what someone is, at least, that doesn't mean that that's not there, that that's not available. On the path you're on now, you are ultimately headed toward a situation where we see just about equal give and take. But in this case, in this depiction, it is because no one's taking very much and someone's only giving little to nothing. And if a little something is given, it's first a matter of, it will first be a matter of patience getting to that point. And may, you know, there may not seem to be a lot of rhyme or reason behind what you are given after you're patient, if it's you who's being patient. And I think it is, because the next step in this manifestation process for you is represented by the Strength card. You not needing to really drag yourself away from what isn't meant for you, or which path you aren't ultimately choosing, but simply to hold yourself back from acting out toward it or walking back toward it, to tame your desires, to give a little bit to both paths. Just don't do that, or at least don't take action toward or on the path that you know you can't ultimately choose. You can give it some more time. Someone else may be giving it some more time who's involved here, whether you like it or not. Some part of you certainly wants to sit and wait and see if somehow this can go differently, can go your way anyway, and some part of you doesn't. But you definitely cannot control someone else's tendency to attract the worst to them. If what you're really valuing is not a past version of yourself that is that way, but someone else who's exercising that pattern. It really could be the same someone who has been on the edge of making an offer but isn't sure what it's worth. And all of that could be what you're really truly desiring to put an end to. You have such a loyalty to the truth. And in this manifestation reading, it's feeling like, it's really seeming like to me that means you're really stuck on what is. And it truly, really is foolish to assume that it is logical that what is and or what will be is likely to be what has been. You're practicing something that's telling you that that's only the case if you focus on what has been, and if you believe that that's true. It's actually not even logical. It doesn't even seem statistically likely in most cases. And the next step is to sort of stay put, comfort yourself rather than bully yourself. And where you can't walk away from something or drag yourself away from something, and you find yourself, almost, maybe even just unconsciously, but almost wishing that someone else could or would tell you what to do, drag you away from a path that's not for you. Just don't take action toward it. Upon you sitting and waiting for some action, and the other party, if there is one involved or are others involved, waiting for action, whomsoever really needs to walk away, because that lack of happening is enough, shifts the energy enough, allows someone to realize that that's not where they're supposed to be, will, in that space, given that time, given that space, That will shift the energy enough for someone here at least. Basically, just like we're seeing here, someone will get too hungry for what they need. It will be obvious they have to go somewhere else. Because the reason that this is taking so long in this case, I think, is because the right thing is being done. Someone won't be trying to give to two parties or paths, spreading their energy too thin, being dishonest where they shouldn't be. Probably you, again, seeing how loyal you're being to the truth. Loyal you're being to the truth. Whether that's because you're guarding your heart, protecting your heart to such an extent, or being very kind and protective toward over someone else who you know is, or both. If you aren't certain about either path yet, don't take action. Following that, a balance will be achieved by the end of the season. It is all about a new beginning, leaping into the unknown. Making a decision based on what you know is possible, not based on what you have seen, have experienced, or even what you are seeing around you presently, currently. Okay, one more card from the Queen of the Moon Oracle deck, and we're going to look at this as sort of an advice card, actually. The Path. The Path. So what I'm immediately noticing is that for someone, we are talking about the next steps forward being meant to elevate your vibration to a state where then you will be using your free will to make the next successive decisions in a different way. You may want to see the end goal. How is this going to end? Where are we heading? When the truth of the matter is that there's more than one destined choice for you to use your free will to make, and you haven't even yet become the person who will shape and make those choices. And so you're at a stage where you're elevating your vibration, you're elevating your consciousness, your psyche to knowing which choices you want to make. Which choices you even want to be considering, let alone what the end result will be yet. You are becoming. And it's just ironic, and it's, just ironic and sort of funny, because for it to say the path, well, that's exactly what you were asking for, right? But I think we will end our reading there. You know what to do. I love you. I believe you should choose the path that makes you feel seen and acknowledged as being as formidable as your higher self truly knows you to be.